My name is Jovi Hightower. I'm 32 years old, the youngest daughter of one of the most powerful political families in Los Angeles. While my sister Tamsin was groomed for spotlight and legacy, and my brother Orion became a media darling in sports broadcasting, I built a nonprofit from scratch that helps children survive the very medical system our family once ignored. I've spent most of my life being the quiet one, the afterthought at dinner tables, the girl who never got asked what she did for a living. I've grown used to the polite nods and forced smiles when I talk about my work, like I'm playing pretend in their real world of power and prestige. But that changed the night my sister texted me not to come to the family reunion. She said I'd embarrass them. What she didn't know was whose table they were about to sit at. Buzz. The text came at 2:46 p.m. Tamsin, don't come to the reunion tonight. It's better this way. We're hosting someone important, and you understand, right? My fingers stilled over the trackpad. The event layout for Chin's annual gala flickered on my laptop. Table 1, 700 guests, 15 corporate sponsors, 2 senators, 1 lieutenant governor, and me, the nobody they raised, the one with the charity hobby. James leaned through my doorway. Donation portal is stalling again. I've called IT twice. Third time, I said flatly. And check the IP access log. I stared at the message again. Don't come. Tamsin didn't even bother to call. Just a text. Quick, cold, surgical. My phone buzzed again. Tamsin, you'd embarrass us. I didn't answer. Instead, I clicked over to the private guest list. Table 1. I stared at the last confirmed name. Senator Levon Merrick. And under +1, it simply read, TBD, confirmed via Merrick's office. A chill bloomed at the base of my neck. James, I said, pull up the catering contract. What ballroom is the reunion in? He tapped his iPad. Small ballroom, just across from ours. Why? I didn't answer. I was already up, phone to ear, calling my assistant director at our Burbank office. Hey, I said, keeping my voice steady. That meeting with Senator Merrick last spring. Was Tamsin ever mentioned? No, she said, but his staff did ask if you were related to the Hightowers. We said yes, of course. Why? Click. My mind snapped back to 3 months ago. Levon Merrick, buttoned down, deliberate, shaking my hand in the Capitol Hall. People like you are rare, he'd told me. You're not playing politics. You're rewriting the rules. Apparently not rare enough to recognize when sleeping with my sister. It wasn't the sex that hit. It was the fact that he knew. He had to, and he never said a word. Buzz. New notification. Critical system breach alert. Chin website backend. I froze. My laptop screen flickered, then dimmed. James burst in. Sights down. Donation portal just crashed entirely. Restore from the encrypted cloud backup. Now. He nodded and ran. I turned back to my phone. Tamsin. Just stay away, Jovi. Please. I finally typed 2 words. Table 1. Send. Cinematic cut. Flash. Scene. Tamsin stepping out of a sleek black SUV in front of the country club. Perfect curls. Red silk dress. Her arm locked through the elbow of Senator Merrick. Inside, my team scrambled around linen-draped tables. The floral vendor was late. The spotlight operator had the wrong color temperature for the stage. I stood in the center of the ballroom, flanked by high beams and the weight of 12 years of work, and whispered to no one in particular. You only embarrass people when they realize they've underestimated you. The air conditioning kicked on with a guttural hum. Across the hall, the reunion banner was already up. Hightower Family Legacy 2026. Printed in gold. My fingers trembled as I adjusted my cufflink. Someone was watching me. I turned, no one there. James returned, breathless. Servers recovering. But you need to see this. He handed me a tablet. A flagged access attempt. Anonymous user. Source. Merrick Foundation internal server. I smiled. To a future we can't escape. They told me I'd embarrass them, but they're the ones sitting at my table tonight. 6:03 p.m. The stage lights burned overhead. My palms were already sweating. I ran a thumb along the velvet hem of my dress. Not a crease, not a wrinkle, nothing I could be mocked for later. Perfect is protection, Paloma once said. They can't kill you if they can't find a flaw. I wasn't so sure anymore. Across the ballroom, waitstaff floated like shadows, adjusting silverware and refilling champagne. I could hear my own heartbeat underneath the orchestral jazz bleeding from the speakers. Tap, tap. James approached. No clipboard this time, just urgency in his eyes. They tried again, he whispered. Second server breach attempt. This time through the proxy route. Same IP. No, masked. But the routing trail, it's too polished. This isn't a kid in a hoodie. This is someone with access. How deep? Deeper than we thought. They copied the entire donor list. I closed my eyes. Start the trace. Quietly. And flag Paloma. I want her looped in now. He disappeared into the service hallway like a shadow melting into shadow. Cut. Flash. Country Club Lounge. Across the marble-floored corridor, Tamsin was laughing. Red dress. Champagne glass. Fake smile. Senator Merrick beside her. Calm. Polished. The kind of calm that came from owning everything around you. They didn't know. Not yet. But they would. I stepped behind a curtain near the sound booth and opened my phone. A message blinked from our Burbank office. Subject line. Urgent. File access breach confirmed. Attached. Screen recording. Levon Merrick's personal assistant, using his credentials, logged into a private state network 2 nights ago, 30 minutes after Chen's budget proposal was submitted. The same night our public funding allocation disappeared from the vote schedule. My stomach dropped. When people want to control a narrative, they don't delete facts. They starve them of oxygen. I wasn't just being excluded. They were erasing me. Cut to. The floral vendor bumped into my shoulder. Sorry, Mississippi. I turned too fast. A stack of white hydrangeas slipped from her hands. I bent to help, then froze. Her name tag. J. Merrick, contracted staff. Merrick had seeded his people into my event. How long had they been watching me? How long had Tamsin been feeding him what he needed? The thought felt radioactive. Buzz. James again. This time a voice memo. One of the servers overheard Merrick's aide say, "She won't see it coming." Also, the lieutenant governor just arrived. I needed air. I pushed through the staff exit, down a dim hallway and out into the side garden. The cool hit like a slap. My chest was tight. Voices drifted through the hedge. Why's her name everywhere suddenly? Thought she just ran a charity. $9 million operating budget? That's not charity. That's political leverage. They were talking about me. Inside, I'd been invisible. Out here, I was a story. My phone pinged. A private message. No name. No icon. Just 5 words. Check your mother's emails. Tonight. My mouth went dry. The door creaked behind me. I spun. A man. Unfamiliar. Tan suit. Clean shoes. No name badge. I forgot something inside, he said smoothly. Didn't mean to startle you. He walked past, smiled once, but he never entered the building. I waited, counted. 30 seconds. He was gone. I texted James. Check external perimeter cams. Timestamp. 6:17 p.m. Back inside. Eyes burning. I walked directly to the media pit. Upload the backup speech, I told the AV tech. The pre-approved version only. No changes. He hesitated. What? I snapped. There was an updated file submitted 30 minutes ago. Signed off by Merrick's office. Blood roared in my ears. Revert it. Now, and send me both versions. The room spun slightly. I grabbed the back of a chair to steady myself. I could hear the faint laughter from the reunion ballroom next door. A dozen Hightowers eating canapés and toasting Legacy. They thought this was their night. But Legacy is just a lie people repeat until someone tells the truth louder. They're not just trying to silence me, they're trying to destroy me. 7:02 p.m. The lights dimmed. A chime echoed, the kind of crystal-clear note that silences entire rooms. I stood off stage, spine straight, watching them. Tamsin swept into the ballroom first, arm looped tight through Senator Merrick's. She smiled wide, chin high, body angled perfectly toward the cameras. She'd always known her angles. Behind them trailed my parents. Father in his favorite navy, mother in pearls, blinking too much. A family portrait, glossed and curated. But every portrait has a crack if you know where to look. Ballroom cams up, James whispered, handing me an earpiece. I patched a feed through security. I slid it in. The ballroom appeared on my tablet. For different angles. Audio too. Merrick was smiling, shaking hands. His voice, charming, confident, rehearsed. An honor to be here, he said. And what a spectacular venue. The family's done a beautiful job tonight. Not the family. Me. It was my gala. My team. My work. But I didn't flinch. Let them spin the lie. I had the truth. Scene shift. James handed me a small black envelope. Inside, printouts. IT. Trace the back door. The breach originated from a Merrick Foundation satellite office. They tried to delete their trail, but the timestamp matched the moment our funding file vanished from the Department of Health's agenda. And the video? He nodded. Ready to roll. One cue from you. I looked at the ballroom again. The projection screen behind the head table flickered, still showing our official branding. Not for long. A voice came through the feed. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker, Senator Levon Merrick. Applause. Spotlight. He rose, buttoned his jacket. I stepped into the hallway unseen. 30 feet from the ballroom doors. Paloma met me halfway, eyes sharp. Now, she asked. Now. Cut. Inside, the lights dropped. A hum. The screen blinked once, then twice. The logo disappeared, replaced by a black background. A new video file. Static. Then. In closed rooms, we call these nonprofits what they are, policy distractions. You keep them around like you keep houseplants. Something to decorate with. But they die easy. You just forget to water them. Merrick's voice. Candid. Caught. The audio came with his image, grainy but clear. Sitting at a private dinner. Talking to someone off camera. Laughing. Her organization? What's it called? Chin? Cute. But irrelevant. We pull the budget. We sweep the votes. Give the funds to our own foundation and slap a new name on it. She's too small to fight. Gasps. Chairs scraped. Whispers exploded. I watched from behind the door as Merrick's face drained of color. Tamsin's wine glass slipped. Crashed. Silence. Then, Senator Merrick lunged toward the podium. That video is out of context. Booing. The donors turned. One man stood furious. You used us, he shouted. You used her. A woman in the back clapped. Slow, sharp, angry. And then the whispers turned into voices. Loud. Demanding. The sound of a reputation shattering in real time. Cut to. My phone buzzed. Text from James. New flag. Someone accessed your mother's private email server. Internal forwarding file. Just hit your backup inbox. Attachment. I opened it, and the floor shifted beneath me. Forwarded from Clarissa Hightower. Subject. Reallocation proposal. Chin. Message. Tamsin said it's just temporary. I know Jovi wouldn't approve. But if this helps us get more visibility with the senator, it's worth it. She'll understand later. My mother. She knew. She didn't stop it. They didn't just betray me. They volunteered me for sacrifice. Cut. The ballroom. Security stepping in. Merrick resisting. Cameras flashing. Someone live streaming. The image burned. I stood perfectly still, every nerve buzzing. I've been underestimated before, I whispered, but never erased. The door to the ballroom creaked open behind me. Tamsin stepped out, face pale, voice hollow. What did you do? I turned to her. You invited him to the table, I said. I just made sure everyone saw who he really was. She stared at me, broken, angry, lost. For once, I didn't flinch. They thought I was invisible, but tonight I was unforgettable. My sister's face looked like porcelain cracked in slow motion. She stared through me as if I were someone else, maybe someone she almost respected once. You don't know what you've done, she hissed. I know exactly what I've done, I said. I just didn't expect you to help them do it. Tamsin didn't blink. You were never supposed to win. You were supposed to work quietly and disappear. Funny, I said. That's what Merrick said too. Word for word. She flinched, just slightly. It was enough. Scene cut. Back hallway. Low light. The hum of vents and the distant swell of angry voices from the ballroom. I was walking fast. Paloma trailed close behind, her heels too sharp for the marble. Backup footage is safe, she whispered. 3 off-site servers. And Jovi, there's something else. She handed me her phone. A second email chain. This one older. 5 weeks ago. Subject: leave on PR push? From Tamsin. If we position Chan's closure as a funding consolidation, Merrick can take credit for streamlining state resources. He gets his numbers. We get favor. I stopped cold. She planned it. I asked. Paloma nodded. Planned it, pitched it, and sent it from her work account like she was invincible. That's the thing about power, I muttered. People forget it expires. Cut scene. Back inside the ballroom. Merrick was gone. Security had escorted him out through a side hallway. Cameras still swarmed. Guests buzzed like hornets with clipped wings. And somewhere in the center of it all, my parents sat frozen, watching the house of cards fall. I didn't go to them. Instead, I walked straight to the reunion ballroom. The music had stopped. Orion was at the bar, shirt collar open, eyes bloodshot. My mother sat at a corner table, alone, twisting her wedding ring. The door creaked as I entered. Every head turned. Someone whispered, "That's her." I stepped onto the makeshift stage. No mic, just silence. I was asked not to come, I said. Told I'd be an embarrassment. Turns out I was just early. A few laughs. Some gasps. I continued. While some of you were clinking glasses with a fraud, my team and I uncovered the biggest misappropriation of nonprofit funds in state history. And the people behind it. I turned slowly, locking eyes with my mother. They were never strangers. Clarissa's lips trembled. She was trying to protect us, Orion said, voice rough. She was trying to protect Tamsin's future. Not mine. Not Chin's. Not the people we serve. You're overreacting, my father started. No, I said sharply. I'm finally reacting. Cut. Outside the ballroom, Paloma motioned me over. Investigative journalist from the Chronicle is here. Wants 5 minutes. Let her wait. I turned my phone over. Another new message. This one from an encrypted email. Subject: internal memo. Senator Merrick / Blackwater LLC. Attachment: confidential contract agreement. Offshore account ledger. Line 7. $250,000 transfer to J. Hightower, labeled reputation shielding. My heart stopped. That wasn't me. There was only one other J. Hightower in this family. Tamsin. They'd paid her, bought her silence. and now it was in writing. People don't betray you by accident. They study your weaknesses first. I stared at the screen. This is criminal, I whispered. Paloma leaned in. It's also traceable. That account number's tied to a trust managed by Nolan Caldwell. Senator Caldwell's son? The same. I closed my eyes. Pieces were aligning. Fast, sharp, dangerous. Merrick's not the top, I said. He's just the one they were willing to burn. Cut scene. Across the hall, Clarissa rose from her chair and walked toward me. Not fast, not frantic, measured. Her expression unreadable. She stopped inches from my face. I did it for you, she whispered. No, I said. You did it for control. But that ends tonight. My phone buzzed again. New message. Unknown sender. You think it's over? Check the speech Nolan's about to give. You're not in control anymore. The air inside the ballroom had changed. It smelled like sweat and champagne and fear. People pretend panic is loud. It isn't. Panic is a low vibration under the skin. Its eyes darting. Phones tilted just enough to record. A donor stepping back like proximity itself might contaminate them. I walked through it anyway. Straight. Unflinching. Jovi, James said in my ear, breath tight. We've got movement. Capitol Affairs just issued a preliminary ethics alert. Merrick's office is denying everything. Of course they are. And Nolan Caldwell just arrived. That landed. Nolan Caldwell didn't attend galas. He attended takeovers. Cut. Near the stage, a second microphone was being set up. Not ours. Portable. Black casing. Government issue. I felt it before I saw him. Nolan Caldwell stood near the side entrance. Tall, silver-haired, the kind of man who never raised his voice because he never had to. His smile was polite. Empty. My phone vibrated again. Unknown number. If you value your organization, walk away. Right now. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded every file Paloma had compiled, emails, wire trails, trust account documentation, to our compliance attorney and the independent auditor on retainer. Mandatory reporting. Federal threshold crossed. No turning back. There's a moment when the door closes behind you and you realize you weren't trapped. You were choosing a different room. I stepped onto the stage. No announcement. No introduction. Just me. The room stilled. I wasn't scheduled to speak, I said, voice steady. But tonight stopped following the schedule a while ago. Murmurs. Camera shutters. Some of you donated because you believe in protecting children. Some of you came because a senator asked you to. Tonight, you deserve to know the difference. I nodded to James. The screen lit again. This time it wasn't video. It was data. A timeline. Clean. Clinical. Dates. Transfers. Shell LLCs. Trust accounts. Names blurred, except two. Merrick Foundation. Hightower Family Trust. A collective inhale. I continued. When public funds are redirected, there are safeguards. Audits. Paper trails. You can delay them. You can muddy them. But you can erase them. I paused. My mother believed she was helping. My sister believed she was entitled. Senator Merrick believed no one would look closely. A beat. They were wrong. Caldwell stepped forward. That's enough, he said calmly. This is no longer appropriate. I turned toward him. Neither was manipulating a non-profit to launder political capital, I said. Yet here we are. A ripple ran through the crowd. Caldwell smiled thinly. You're emotional. That makes you reckless. No, I said. It makes me honest. He leaned closer, voice lowered. You think this ends with applause? You'll be audited into dust. Your donors will run. Your board will fold. Maybe, I said, but not before the truth finishes its lap. James's voice cut in. Jovi, agents are here. Two figures moved through the crowd. Dark suits. Badges clipped low. FBI. Financial Crimes Task Force. They didn't rush. They never do. They approached Merrick first. Cameras exploded. Merrick's face collapsed in real time. Not fear. Recognition. Caldwell stepped back. So did Tamsin. I watched my sister scan the exits like a trapped animal. Mascara streaked. Hands shaking. The red dress suddenly too loud, too thin. She looked at me. Not angry. Afraid. People don't panic when they lose love. They panic when they lose leverage. An agent spoke quietly to Merrick, asked him to step aside. He resisted for half a second, then complied. Handcuffs clicked. The sound echoed. I exhaled. Behind me, someone whispered, Jesus. Another said she did this. Yes, I did, but it cost more than they saw. My phone buzzed again, this time from our compliance attorney. DOJ confirmed receipt. Chun accounts frozen pending review. Frozen. My knees locked. Paloma was at my side instantly. We expected this, she said. Temporary. We'll survive. I nodded, but the hit landed. Winning always breaks something on the way through. Tamsin tried to slip past the agents. They stopped her. Ms. Hightower once said, "We'll need to ask you a few questions." She turned to me one last time. "You've ruined everything," she said. I met her gaze. "No," I said quietly. "I just stopped lying for you." They led her away. The ballroom dissolved into chaos, voices overlapping, phones ringing, donors leaving in clusters. I stood alone on the stage, spotlight still on. I remembered something Paloma once told me during a midnight budget meeting, when we were both exhausted and bleeding optimism. Power doesn't fall. It gets pushed. Tonight I pushed, and they didn't expect me to fight back. They sure as hell weren't ready to lose. I watched the footage loop again from Paloma's laptop. News anchors, fast cuts, Merrick being let out in cuffs, Tamsin's smeared lipstick. The moment I stepped onto the stage. Again. Do you ever get used to watching your family fall apart in HD? I asked. Paloma sipped her espresso, eyes on me unreadable. Depends, she said. Did they fall, or did you finally stand up? Cut. Outside, the city kept breathing. LA didn't stop for scandals. Neither did the board of directors. For resigned within 48 hours. 2 offered settlements. The third, Chairwoman Talia Creed, called me in for an emergency vote. We sat in a glass conference room 10 floors above Wilshire. One wall of light. No shadows to hide in. Your audit is clean, Talia said. But clean doesn't mean safe. I know. She studied me. You want to keep leading this foundation? Yes. Even with your name dragging headlines? My name dragged kids into a lie they didn't choose. I owe them more than silence. She tapped her pen twice, then nodded. The vote passed. Unanimous. I didn't smile. Cut. Later, I stood in the elevator. Alone. I didn't press the lobby. I pressed the roof. Vint met me first. Then silence. The kind that stretches around the bones. No empire is ever buried whole. Someone always survives to tell the story. I was that someone now. For the first time in years, I didn't carry a script. I wasn't the plus one, the charity mascot, the sweet one. I was Jovi Hightower, the sister who didn't look away. Cut. Tamsin called once. Left a message I never played. Mom didn't call at all. Her lawyer did. Their statements were rehearsed, sanitized. We deeply regret, unaware at the time, fully cooperating. But behind those lines, something cracked. And once it cracks, it spreads. Truth doesn't ask for permission. It just walks in and starts rearranging the furniture. Cut. Weeks passed. The city quieted. But I didn't. I visited the AMC shelter personally. I walked the hallways, met the nurses who stayed through funding freezes, held the hand of a boy named Eli whose parents had vanished during an immigration raid, left with a scar on his shoulder and an empty chart. "You gonna fix all this?" he asked me. "I'm going to try." He nodded. "You don't talk like the others." I smiled. "I'm not like the others." Cut. 2 months later, I gave the keynote at the West Coast Ethics Summit. Cameras again. This time my choice. I was raised to believe silence was the price of survival, I told the room. But sometimes silence is the weapon. A pause. We don't heal by hiding our names. We heal by reclaiming them. Applause. Real. Not polite. Afterward, a woman approached me. Short gray hair. Crisp black blazer. She introduced herself only as Rain. "I used to work with your father," she said, "back before the first campaign, before everything changed." I studied her face. There was something old there, worn, like she'd seen the rot before it spread. "There's something you should see," she added. "It doesn't end with Merrick." A folder slid across the table. Black seal. No label. Rain tapped it once. Read. Then burn. She left. Just like that. Cut. That night I lit a match. Watched the edge of the envelope curl. Inside was a ledger. Names. Codes. Dates stretching back 20 years. It wasn't just about money. It never was. Power is never about control. It's about who gets to speak without permission. And now I had the mic. This time, I wouldn't wait to be invited. This time, I wouldn't be told who to impress. This time, I would speak first. And damn the fallout. Because some stories don't end in justice. They begin with it.